We see Rob says, "We spent years together out there surviving. At first, she didn't talk much. Then it was one day. She found my old guitar in my room and started playing it." Flashback to 2034, a year after her parents' deaths. We see Jade playing the guitar as Rob walks in, and she stops playing, and Rob says, "Sounded good. I didn't know you played." Jade says, "My daddy used to play. He didn't truly know how good he was." Rob says, "He's the one that taught you that?" Jade says, "Yeah, he taught me mostly everything." Rob says, "Hey, you want to know something cool?" Jade says, "What?" Rob says, "I used to be a rock star back in the day." Jade says, "What is that?" Rob says, "Oh, I suppose. You're only 8 years old. You probably wouldn't know anything about that." "Well, kid, a rock star is someone that gets up on a stage in front of several people and plays music. Back then, we used to have things called electric guitars, when we would plug it into this thing called an amp, and the sound was just... it was like no other. You felt powerful up there, standing up there in front of everybody." Jade says, "I wish I could have seen that." Rob says, "It's alright, kid. Although in some ways, I wish you could have seen the old world." Jade says, "Yeah, me too." Rob says, "Alright, kid. I'm gonna get dinner started. One thing though, one condition. Maybe start doing more of this talking thing every once in a while." Jade says, "Okay." As we see a montage of time going by, we see her fishing, as Rob says, "You're swinging too hard, just maybe not so aggressive." We see her chopping up wood for the first time, as we see it's not working for her, and Rob says, "Here, watch my form." As we see him cut it perfectly through, and she rolls her eyes. Rob says, "Try again." We see her playing board games with him, as she's saying, "No! Come on, you were way off the line there." Rob says, "I was not. And what are you doing down here? You're not getting any points down that route." As more time passes, we see her playing guitar. We see her going up to a deadhead as she stabs it in the head, but the axe gets stuck as she says, I can't do it." Rob says, "I got your back. Come on, you got this." And as she gets the axe unstuck and stabs it, as it then transitions to an older Jade, killing a deadhead like it's nothing. She turns around and says, "That's the first one we've seen in months." Rob says, "Music to my ears. Say maybe in 30 we'll go on that hunt?" Jade says, "Down south again, Dad? Seriously?" Rob says, "What? You getting too old for that now?" Jade says, "I'm 22. Why can't I choose the route this time?" Rob says, "All right. North?" Jade says, "Works for me." We see Jade playing the guitar like nobody's business, as we see her getting her things ready for the hunt. We see Rob and Jade sitting by a campfire. We see Jade saying, "Getting harder to find food. Feels like there's less and less every time we go out here." Rob says, "We'll go out for a few more days or so. Maybe find something." Rob says, "If we do." Jade says, "I'm gonna take a leak." She goes off into the woods, and Rob is sitting there as he starts reading one of his books. But then, we hear the sound of footsteps in the woods as Rob says, "Jade? You there?" He starts walking into the woods slowly as he says again, "Jade? Baby, you there?" But then, he then sees her necklace on the ground as he picks it up, as he sees multiple tracks going forward, as he realizes someone either took her or killed her. He looks terrified and goes back and grabs his things and puts out the fire very quickly and grabs his sword and starts following the tracks, trying to find his daughter. Currently, Rob says, I looked for hours until I found those sons of bitches. Not gonna lie, I felt like I blacked out during most of it in worry for my daughter." Flashback
to a week ago. We see he follows the tracks and finds these guys. He then sees there's 4 of them as he's hiding in the trees, standing there, as he's just watching them, and he's seething. He then comes up behind one of them and stabs them in the back as it goes through the other side. He very quickly slices 2 of their heads clean off, and he takes the last one and starts punching him in the face over and over again. As Rob says, "What did you do to her? Where in the fuck is my daughter?" The guy removes his mask and says,
Are you Rob Johnson? Jesus Christ. I thought you would have rotted away in that cell by now.
Rob says,
You see my face? You see who I am? Then come on. Speak to your idol. I'll give you a nice autograph, motherfucker.
The guy says,
Okay. Yeah, we took her.
Rob says,
Where is she?
The guy says,
Somewhere you won't find her. See what we all do? We ain't proud of doing. But we're still alive because of it. And we all answer to somebody that's gonna have good use for her.
Rob says,
Look in my eyes. Do you think I give a shit about what you people do?
The man looks impressed and says,
All right, look. So in honor of that great music of yours, I'll do something we don't usually do. You really want your daughter back?
Rob says,
I care about her more than my own life, you motherfucker.
The guy says,
Well, lucky for you, I'm the head collector for this faction. Although you're gonna have to find me 3 strangers in return. Take the place of your daughter. Consider the other 2 interest payments.
Rob says,
You son of a bitch. And if I don't?
And the man says,
Well, then she dies. Look, our leader listens to me. But if I show up with 3 instead of 1, that could go a long way for me and for you.
Rob looks horrified and says,
How do I know my daughter will still be alive by the time we make this deal?
The man says,
In respect of your music, like I said. That hard work of yours. Besides, after all, I'm your biggest fan, sir.
Rob says,
I'll do it.
The man says,
Oh, and
any deadheads you find out there, take their skulls. Bring as many as you can to the trade.
I really want the headline on this one. And in front of the big man, it'll look good on me.
1 week, Rob. If you don't show up with the skulls and those 3 dead bodies ready for me,
then we will feast on your daughter.
Confirming they're cannibals. As Rob looks scared, as he lets the man go, as he sits there all alone in the rain, crying his eyes out. And currently, Rob says,
It's been a week, and I don't know if it's too late.